Howdy, Kyle Chambers for Texas Quality Assurance, and today we are talking about Longshore and Stevedoring training. With that, I guess we'll just get started. So, about over the next 30 to 45 minutes, we're going to cover a lot of the essential safety practices that will keep you and your coworkers safe on the job. This training is designed for new hires, so you're probably watching this as part of new hire orientation. So, hey, welcome to the job. Hope everything goes well, and hope you're able to learn a lot from this so that you can do a good job and stay safe on the job. This training, like I say, is designed for new hires, and this really is absolutely critical. Our work environment can be hazardous, but with the right knowledge and habits, we can prevent accidents. That's why we call them accidents. No one ever intends to get hurt on the job. It's an accident. It's unexpected. So we have to prepare for it. And this is one of those crucial steps in preparing to avoid accidents. So longshore workers and stevedores, these are the people that are responsible for loading and unloading ships at the port. Look, whether you're driving a forklift on the dock, rigging a crane for a lift, or handling cargo on a ship's hold, you play a vital role in the supply chain. But these jobs also come with risks. You're dealing with heavy machinery, massive cargo, and the ever-present danger of water around us, and that's why safety has to be a top priority. So in this session, we're going to break it down into kind of four main topics. First, general safety awareness. Basic safety principles, personal protective equipment, just everyone needs to know. 2, crane operations and rigging safety. You need to make sure that you know how to safely work with and around cranes and rigging gear. Loading and unloading practices, number 3. These are safe procedures for handling cargo on the docks and in the warehouse. And 4, you want to make sure that you're able to work safely on and around ships, that you're able to take precautions for being on the vessels, including working on gangways, working your hatches, and dealing with the ever-present vessel movement. So, according to OSHA, studies of maritime accidents show that the most frequent fatal accidents involve workers being struck by vehicles, falls, or drowning, and accidents with cargo or cranes. The biggest risks are 1, being hit or run over by equipment such as trucks, forklifts, and other vehicles. We know that we don't always have control of the warehouse that we're going into. We don't have all the control over the vessel and the operations and the other vendors and folks around. We have to be ever present of these dangers to make sure that we minimize our risk and can make sure that we go home to our families as safe and as good conditions we came to work in. Another big risk, falling from heights or into the water, possibly even drowning if not rescued. These are definite risks we have to consider. Being struck by cargo, such as something falling or an accident during lifting. I've been around enough large lifts and small lifts, and these are all risks of things that can happen. So OSHA, if you're not familiar with OSHA, I keep a nice big OSHA binder here right beside me. OSHA is the Occupational Health and Safety Administration. So they write and administer the rules for safety for most states in the country. So OSHA's mission is to reduce the rates of illness and injuries in our industry. Our goal here today is to make sure that you don't become part of an accident statistic. A company follows regulations for marine terminals and longshoring. This can be found if you are so inclined to read the wonderfully enticing and thrilling OSHA CFRs in 29 CFR 1917 and 1918. We also implement what we call industry best practices to try to go above and beyond these minimum rules. All right, topic 1, general safety awareness. So we're covering here baseline safety practices that every longshore worker and stevedore needs to follow no matter the specific job. PPE, it's about as simple as it gets. PPE is required on all terminals at all times. The basics include a hard hat, high visibility vest, safety footwear, and often gloves and glasses, but this can depend on the particular task. So if you've been instructed to wear PPE, wear it. Hard hats, these protect against falling objects. I'll tell you too from experience, these also protect from walking through really weird, cramped areas and warehouses that maybe not always best maintained, or a load that someone did not raise, did not lower to the ground but left raised partially up. It's real easy to hit your noggin on these things. Hard hats work great. It has saved me from injury before as well. You need a high-vis vest. Lots of people in and out, left, right, everywhere. We got to make sure we're able to be seen. We want to ensure operators see you clearly. Steel-toed shoes. I mean, this goes without saying. We know where we're working. Steel-toed shoes protect your feet. They improve traction, too. That's a big one. You don't usually think about those steel-toed shoes, but they've got a very different sole, very different grip on them than you might have in your cowboy boots or your tennis shoes. Hearing protection, that may also be a requirement. This can kind of be case by case, area by area, company by company. But again, if you've been told to wear hearing protection, it's a good thing to wear. Hearing protection may be necessary in noisy areas, and gloves to protect from cuts, abrasions. Always inspect your PPE before each shift. Replace, report anything that's damaged. PPE is just simply the last line of defense if something goes wrong, so don't skip it. All right. Stay alert, stay aware of your surroundings. Our workplace is always active. There's trucks, forklifts, cranes, containers, just constantly moving. Always look around frequently before walking into an area or walking around a blind corner. Use designated pedestrian walkways whenever possible. I know, they're not always there, but if they are, use it. Make eye contact with equipment operators before crossing near them. Don't assume that they can see you. If you're operating equipment, check your blind spots, use your horn as required. And look, the fact is, struck by accidents are a leading cause of fatalities in longshoring, and staying alert is your best way to prevent it. Communication. We work as a team. Good communication is essential. Before each job, we're going to have a briefing, we're going to have a toolbox talk, and it's going to cover the plan, it's going to cover the hazards for the day. During operations, we're using standard hand signals, radios, WhatsApp oftentimes to communicate and coordinate safely. Crane operators and signals use, stumbling on my words a little bit. Crane operators and signalers use standardized signals. Everyone's got to agree on the communication methods before starting. Get with your supervisor, get with your safety manager, make sure you know and understand these. Miscommunication leads to accidents. Clarity is key. Anyone can call a stop if a dangerous situation arises. No amount of production, no amount of activity is worth you or your coworker getting hurt. Let's talk about housekeeping and walking surfaces. A clean work area is a safe work area. You got to keep pathways free of tools, ropes, and spills. Look, seriously, do it. Coil up any unused straps, ropes, clean up the spills, watch for uneven, slippery surfaces. Always ensure that the walk areas are well lit, that slips, trips, and falls are preventable with good housekeeping. Where I come from, we call this piddling. You're just walking around piddling, doing one little productive thing, whatever you can do to keep things nice. Piddling's a good thing to do to keep the housekeeping in order. All right, following procedures. Standard operating procedures are based on OSHA requirements and industry best practices. So all of the rules and programs that you're being told by your safety manager and your supervisors to follow, they were kind of thought out and put in place for a reason. So let's make sure that we do a good job and follow them. Always follow them. Shortcuts, you might save a moment, but it can cost a life. Never operate equipment unless you're trained and authorized to do so. I don't care that you operated a forklift in your last job for 5 years. If you've not been certified and okayed to operate it here, sorry, you don't get to do it. If you're unsure about what you can or can't do, stop, get clarification from your supervisor. Again, this kind of falls to the communication piece. We've got to make sure we're working as a team. Reporting hazards and incidents. Report hazards such as broken equipment. This includes, too, our rigging equipment. If it's nasty, it's dirty, it's ugly, it looks worn, tore out, we can't use it. Check for spills, any unsafe conditions, and report it immediately. It's not like, I'll tell someone after lunch that, they might want to go take a look at that. No, get on the phone, get on the radio, get on the horn, do something, let someone know we have an issue, and I think it needs addressed. Don't just walk past the hazards. We've got to report any incidents, what we call near misses, like, man, load came swinging, whoo, man, went right in front of my face. Oh, thank God I'm safe. Yes, thank God, then tell your supervisor. We need to take a find and fix approach. And reporting is just really encouraged and supported, and it's going to be the best way that we can make sure that we not only have a safe work environment today, but a better one tomorrow. All right. So that kind of covers our basic safety foundation. So now let's move on to crane and rigging safety. All right. So crane and rigging safety. Cranes, it's just a daily part of our work. A dropped load or rigging failure, it can just absolutely be catastrophic. Only certified crane operators and trained riggers are authorized to perform the work. Same thing I was saying about forklift. I get it. You did it in the last job. If you ain't been certified and approved here, doesn't matter. Pre-operation inspections. Crane operators must inspect their equipment before each use. You're checking your controls, alarms, and safety devices. Riggers are responsible for personally inspecting slings, shackles, and other gear for defects. Anything that is damaged or questionable, it's never used. A pre-operation checklist is mandatory and critical. Get with your supervisor, get with your safety manager, make sure you know exactly what to look for. The work area setup. We need a clear area of non-essential personnel and establish barriers and warning signs. We want to make sure there's no obstructions or overhead hazards present. A spotter's job is to assist with positioning and aligning before lifting. Everyone's got a role, and we need to take it seriously. Safe lifting operations. Always position the crane directly above the load. We don't want to do side loading. We don't want to do any side pulls. That is just a wonderful way for things to go terribly wrong. Secure the load with the appropriate slings or chains. We want to make sure we've ensured balance. We don't need some uneven load we're lifting. Lift slowly and steadily. This is not a chance to show off your skills. Think it's awesome, you're awesome. But we're not here to show it off. We're here to be slow. We want to avoid any momentum building up. We want to avoid any jarring or sudden movement. And it's often best case to do a test lift just to confirm everything's working. All right, communication. Only the designated signaler should give directions to the operator using standard signals or radios. If contact is lost, the operation stops until communication is restored. Clear, agreed upon communication keeps everyone coordinated and keeps the job safe. All right, kind of critical safety rule here. You'd think it goes without saying, but sometimes it doesn't. So we're going to say it. Never exceed the crane's rated capacity. I've heard this argument before. Oh, this is built to take twice that. It's got a 20% margin. It's got a this percent margin. Don't care. It's got a rated capacity. That's what we're working at. Always keep the loads as low as possible when moving them. Oh gosh, this one's so stupid. Again, this is one of the reasons that we got to wear hard hats. You get guys that like to keep those loads lifted 4, 5, 6 feet up off the ground. If it's off the dirt, it's good. Never allow anyone to stand under or near a suspended load. I've run into this before. I've had a guy working underneath a 10,000 pound weight, and he's right daggum there underneath it working. And I'm like, what would happen if that broke? Just bad stuff. We don't want to deal with it. So don't do it. So best practices. You got to use the correct sling for the load. We got to use the correct equipment. Inspect your slings and hardware before use. You got to protect them. Look, if you find that you've always got slings with rub spots and, missing threads and all discolored, and it's not, because these colors matter. And if you find that's happening often, well, for one, those things are expensive. We got to get them replaced. And two, means that we probably need to do a better job of putting padding around our equipment before we run a strap over it to protect it from sharp edges. Don't run these things through the mud and the dirt. Treat them with care. Guys, imagine that this is your wife's. Would you drag whatever her belongings are through the dirt and get them greasy, dirty, grimy, and hand them back to her? Nope. Why are you going to treat the stuff that keeps your life safe any different? Ensure all the hardware is secure before lifting. Again, make sure you take good care of everything. We want to inspect and store all the rigging equipment properly. We want to tag out and we want to remove any damaged gear. And literally, you put a tag on it, do not use. If you see a tag that says do not use, do not think to yourself, well, I wonder why it's do not use. It looks good to me. Nope. Someone had a good idea to put it on there. Don't think you're smarter than they were. Once you're done with the lift, we want to secure the crane after its use, complete any inspection forms, any records you got, make sure we follow our standard practices. Key principles, though, that you need to remember. Only trained personnel operate the cranes. You got to inspect it before and after. Communication has to be clear. The loads stay within safe limits, and nobody should ever be under a suspended load. All right. Loading and unloading practices. So, loading and unloading oftentimes involves forklifts, and trucks, and even manual lifting. These operations present some significant risk, but the fact is it's manageable with the right practices. So let's talk about forklift equipment safety. You know, I'm going to say it, only trained and certified operators use the forklift. You got to do a pre-use inspection on your forklift. This means every shift, someone has to give it a good once-over, and we've got a checklist for that. Operators have to wear seat belts. Yes, you have to wear your seat belt. I don't know how many times I've had to yell at folks for this. Wear your dang seat belt. Some point is going to come where that load tips. You stop too fast. Someone else hits you. Bad things can happen. And when they do, you don't want to be caught between the mast or the cage of that forklift and the dirt. You'd much rather be buckled into your seat. You got to drive these things at safe speeds. They're not go-karts, guys. Take your time, do your job right, get home safe. Keep loads low and stable. We're not seeing if we can get it lifted up. We're not doing this little balancing, teetering act. None of that mess. And you got to have clear visibility. Clear visibility in a forklift means you turn around backwards and drive. They're designed so you can do it. So do it. If something blocks your view, you just drive in reverse, or maybe you use a spotter. But we're going to make sure that we are driving safely. Your horn should be used at every intersection, at every blind corner. Honk the mess out of that thing. You got to make sure other folks know you're there. They, kind of present a little bit of danger. You don't want to be the cause of someone else getting run over. Extra riders, stunts, horseplay, it's just restricted. You can't do that stuff. Pedestrian safety. Pedestrians have to stay in designated walkways. You got to wear high visibility vests, and operators have to remain alert for pedestrians. And pedestrians should never assume that they are seen. Never walk under a raised fork. Never walk under raised loads. Same type rules we got for cranes. Loading and unloading vehicles. Make sure the trailer wheels are chalked. I'm going to say it again. Make sure the trailer wheels are chalked, because I guarantee you, I've seen it happen a couple of times. What's going to happen is that trailer that never moves, it always stays still. But then today, somehow, you hit it at just the right speed with just the right weight, and then we start rolling. Every trailer's wheels need chalked or otherwise secured. Use trailer stands for stability if the forklifts are in an unhitched trailer. That thing can tip up like this, and it's a bad day for everyone. You'll be real glad you wore your seatbelt if that happens. And lockout devices can be used to permit the truck movement during loading. Always confirm communication with the driver before starting. I have seen that before. The truck took off while there was a forklift in it. Stupid stuff can happen. Communication is key. All right, manual lifting. When manual lifting, keep your back straight, especially any of y'all that are 40 or over. Let me tell you, you got to protect that back. Your back's only made to bend over like this so many times. We're going to squat with our legs, and we're going to remember what it felt like in high school workouts, because we're going to bend our knees and we're going to lift with our legs. Our backs only got so many times that they can bend like this, and then they just decide to lock up. So keep the load close to your body, avoid twisting. Again, squat, lift with those legs. And if the load feels too heavy or awkward, just ask for help, or maybe this is a good chance to use a forklift. Who knows? All right. General cargo handling. Always use the proper tools for the job. This is not the place for some redneck fun. We want to remove any loose dunnage before lifting the loads with a crane or a forklift. You want to make sure that you secure and balance the loads to prevent any tipping or collapse, and distribute the weight properly when loading containers or trailers. Look, you follow these basic practices, you're going to minimize risk from any type of equipment or cargo handling issues that you could run into. All right, we're in the home stretch, guys. Number 4, working safely on and around ships. Ships present a lot of unique hazards such as movement, with water, open hatches, all sorts of things that can go wrong. The gangway and boarding safety. You will always use a secured gangway or ladders to board ships. Don't jump between the dock and the vessel. Like, come on. Hold the handrails, use a 3-point contact, and avoid carrying heavy items while climbing. Working on docks and near openings. So open hatches have to be protected with guardrails or nets. Makes sense. Never approach unguarded edges without fall protection. We're not in high school. We're not doing silly stuff to impress folks. It is, you just want to make sure you have every opportunity to go home in the same condition you came to work in. Watch for trip hazards, like combings, tools, or other debris. Keep the deck clear and keep it well maintained. When we're working with, in cargo holds, so we want to use proper access ladders. We want to make sure there's adequate lighting. You want to be aware of the air quality that's in there. You don't want to stand under loads when they're being lowered into the holds. You got to get back. Keep in communication with the deck crew and make sure you got a good, clear exit plan. Water and drowning protection. Always wear your life vest. When working near or on the water or vessels without, especially when working on or near vessels without railings. Look, life rings are always going to need to be available, and workers need to know their locations. You need to know your rescue procedures, such as ladders, boats. Make sure everything's in place, but prevention is the most critical thing here. Mooring lines and vessel movements. Stay clear of mooring lines under tension. The snapback effect of a parted line can be fatal. You got to be mindful of vessel movement during loading and unloading. As water levels and vessel positions shift, just always maintain good balance and secure your tools and equipment. But operating with machinery on ships, operators have to maintain safe distances from the edges, move slowly. Life vests are required when operating on barges or any type of an open deck. And look, these are just, again, kind of basic things. One thing I've said over the years that I've done safety is 90% of it is good common sense, well applied. So by respecting the kind of unique hazards of the vessels, following proper precautions, we can stay safe while working on and around ships. So a little bit of a recap. We covered general safety, your PPE, stay alert, communicate, keep your area clean, follow your procedures, report your hazards. Crane and rigging. Only trained operators handle cranes. You got to inspect it before and after use. Communicate clearly, never overload, and don't work underneath a suspended load. When loading and unloading, only forklift operators, authorized forklift operators, but you're operating forks, you're operating trucks. We want to make sure we stay safe. We protect pedestrians, we secure our loads, and again, basic safe lifting practices. When you're working on the ships, we're using proper access methods. We're wearing a life vest if we're near water. Stay clear of mooring lines and just respect the movement hazards that are present. So safety on longshore and stevedoring, it's really like most safety. It's all about awareness, teamwork, and following established procedures. Look, these rules exist because of real incidents, and following them ensures that everyone goes home safe at the end of the day and you don't become part of that accident and injury statistic. So that's what we got today. Hope you got a couple things to take away that's useful. So, y'all have a great day.